Yo, 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 DonknDave here on day 30 of the Take It Easy tour. And we're loaded up at the hotel. The rain that was supposed to come through did, but it was a mile away from the hotel. I checked the radar and we never got any rain appreciably here, but it was a mile south that way at the restaurant that I wanted to go to. So I didn't get to go to the restaurant that I wanted to. So I just kind of hung out in the room. But I did my YouTube videos and I updated on Facebook. I even did laundry. And look, I did laundry in the sink, and it's wet right now, but I've got a 55-mile-per-hour dryer with the sun beating down on it. So this stuff here, like I said, it's all nylon or wool, so it's going to dry in about an hour, and then I'll be able to pack it up. But this is how you do laundry on the road, and then you just pin it up there so it dries out. So we're on the road now. Gonna find some other places to go to today, and it'll be a good day. Day 30 of the Take It Easy tour. Rock and roll. So while I was unpacking the bike, I was at the hotel and I was unpacking the bike, and this guy, I come out and this guy is looking over my bike, and the dude is like covered with tattoos. I mean, he's got it from head to toe on his neck. He didn't have any on his face, and he barely had about 10 teeth. But I started talking to him, and I picked up a southern accent. So I started talking to him, and I found out he was from West Virginia. And he was a dude that worked in the oil and gas industry, and he was doing that before it shut down, kind of like. And then Donald Trump has got the oil and gas industry back on track, and they've got a job for him lined up in West Virginia for 5 years. He's a pipe layer and pipe welder, and so he's going to go back to West Virginia. He said he's going to make $3 grand a week as a pipe welder, and he's going to do that for 5 years. So that's good work for him. And so what he's been doing up here instead is, to make a long story short, he got into the lobstering industry here. So he had been like, they have a captain, then they have a second mate or a second helper, and then third line helper. And he got hired on to be a third line helper. And he worked mostly inshore. That's not going 120 miles offshore. That's what the major the offshore lobstermen do. But he worked inshore. And he said he made $56,000 in 5.5 months. Let that sink in. $56,000 in 5.5 months working as a lobsterman. Now, you know, that's not great work. I mean, that's not fun work. What he would do is he would bait the traps, and he would also put the things over the claws of the lobsters so they couldn't snap at each other and hurt each other, everything. Excuse me. But I mean, for 5.5 months to make that much money, that's pretty damn good. And he said that the lobstering industry, generally, it's about a 5 or 6 month industry for the inshore. But the offshore guys, they're the guys that go out and they're in the deep water, and the lobsters are always there. So you got these ginormous boats that'll go out there and collect up these lobsters and everything. But the dude was I mean, he was kind of scary looking and everything, but he's turned out to be a nice guy. And he's got a girlfriend, and he had some people over at his apartment or whatever where he's living with his girlfriend, and this dude tried to rape his girlfriend, and I mean, this guy was small. He's smaller than me, And he said that the dude that tried to rape his girlfriend was like a little bit bigger at about 190 pounds. And he went to wailing on this guy that was trying to do that to his girlfriend. And the guy broke a bottle over his head and then cut him on his arm with the bottle. And the dude had a ginormous scar on his arm. And he nearly bled to death. So, you know, I mean, there's all types all over the place, it sounds like. But, you know, you meet characters when you're out here on the road. But it was interesting to talk to him about lobster, and I got more information out of him from lobster. And yesterday I asked the question if you were allowed to have a no commercial license and still have a lobster trap. And he said, yeah, you can do that. If you can have 5 lobster traps per household. So hell yeah, man, if I were living here and I was on the coast, I'd have some damn lobster traps somewhere where I could collect some lobsters. Because damn, they're expensive up here. Even up here they're expensive. And but the work, I mean, if you wanted to spend some time up here, you get a camper, you live in a camper at a campsite or something like that, because you don't want to pay too much for a hotel room. You live in a camper and you work for a lobsterman for 6 months, and then you make, you know, $60,000-$70,000 in that season for 6 months, and then you go home, and that's it. That'd be cherry. I mean, that's what people do up there, you know, at in Alaska when it's the deadliest catch. Except here it's in New England, in Maine, and you just you're doing that with lobsters, and that'd be pretty interesting. You know, I'm 50-something years old, semi-retired, man. I could do that. It'd be some nasty ass work, but damn, it'd be interesting. You see some interesting stuff. I asked the guy, I was like, what do you do to prevent somebody from stealing your traps or stealing your lobsters? And he said that they had a problem with somebody taking their lobsters and then cutting their buoys, so they would lose they'd lose the whole lobster trap and everything. And man, he was upset about that. He said his captain was really pissed off over that. And apparently they caught some civilians taking lobsters out of a lobster trap, and they went to that boat where they were at, and they jumped them, and they called the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard came out and got them. And there's a big fine for doing stuff like that. I mean, a big fine. So yeah, piracy and all that stuff. I mean, captain's got shotguns and everything, but he's like, you know, you catch somebody pirating, you know, your stuff, you don't want to open fire on them, because if there's 2 or 3 guys in there, they probably got a sniper rifle or some other kind of a rifle in there, and you don't want to mess around with that. So you just call the Coast Guard and they'll come get them. He said that the Coast Guard came out. They had Marine Patrol, Coast Guard, everybody was out there jumping on these poor civilians. so yeah, that's what happened there. So okay, we're gonna move on, get to our next place. Okay, we're here at our next place, and this is the Rockport Breakwater, and we're going to walk out there to, there's a lighthouse out there, and it is called a breakwater because what happens is you have the harsh waves and everything coming in from the ocean right there when they have like wind and a northeaster and all that stuff, and it takes all the waves there and then leaves it kind of calm right here. So that's why they call it a breakwater, so that the boats like right there can go out into the ocean without you know, capsizing or whatever back in here in the port. So we're going to do that, and I've got Donk with me. Donk at the breakwater. So we're going to come out here and check it out and see what it's like, and we'll do that. Alright guys, there's some guys in a lobster boat right there. What they did is they hooked the rope and they pull it in just a little bit into the boat, and now they got a winch. They're going to pull it up with their winch. And there it is. You got anything? I don't know. Can't tell. Let's see if they got anything. He's pulling up. He's rebaiting it. Pulled up another. See if they got anything. Those people must think I'm an idiot because I'm wearing a helmet and talking. Okay, they threw out the old bait, and that was a small lobster they just threw out. And that's a girl. That's a girl there doing the third mate thing. Awesome. You're gonna be on YouTube. Yeah, well, there they go, and she's tossing them out. And that's how it's done. That is lobstering 101 right there. That is freaking cool. And then they go into the next one. And their markers, you can see their markers are of a certain color so that they know which ones to go to. Because they don't want to pull up the wrong ones. And look at all of them. There must be 100 of them out here. That's crazy. That is nuts. It's amazing that the lobster population exists for how much they take. It's amazing. I've been walking for a while. I still got a long way to go. So let's get to it. All right, so we're here at the breakwater, at the very end point of the breakwater. And you can see a lighthouse over there. And then there's a sailboat right there. And then this is the lighthouse right here, and there's a lighthouse keeper's place right here. But it's really neat, and you can see the wind is starting to come this way because we got some whitecaps headed this way. If the wind were coming from that direction, we'd have bigger waves than be coming in this way. But this is neat, and that's the town of Rockport, I believe. And we're going to go up to the top of that thing and see what it looks like. And look at this. Gang insignias in coastal Maine? Are you kidding me? Oh well. Okay, well apparently I cannot get up to the top of that thing right there. But I can get up to this here deck that's around here. You can see how far I had to walk to get out here. It's a good hike. Got a boat coming in there, and then there's the harbor again, and this is a dock here for, I guess, crabbers or somebody who wants to tend to the lighthouse or something like that. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. It looks like an old barn, but it's really a lighthouse, and it's pretty neat. Pretty neat out here, guys. I'm digging it. Man, if I wasn't into motorcycles, I'd be doing some boating right now. If I wasn't on the trip, I'd be on the boat too. So yeah. So that's it for this. This is cool. I might hang out here for a little bit, just soak up some rays. All right, DonknDave out. All right, we're still here on the lighthouse at the breakwater, and we got a nice sailboat coming in, or going out. That is, he's going out. But he's making some headway, man. He's cruising right now. The wind is perfect for him. I guess he's on a run. Run is going with the wind like that. So he's on a run. We'll see if I can take a picture. There you go. There you go. That is cool. Yeah. If I weren't into motorcycling, I'd be doing some boating and sailing. No doubt about that. That looks fun. It takes a different kind of person to be in a sailboat, though. You got to be a type B person, not in a big hurry. Looks like they're doing all right. Very, very cool. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I met a new friend, a guy named Thomas, who I was at the end of that lighthouse. Look at that house there. Look at that place. That is awesome. I was at the end of the lighthouse there at the breakwater, and this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, you ought to be riding your bike out here." He goes, "You can make it." And so we started talking, found out that Thomas is his name, and he races antique motorcycles. So we sat there and chatted with his lady friend, we chatted for about 20-30 minutes or something like that, right out there at the breakwater, talking about motorcycles. So it just goes to stand that when you're on rides like this, you can meet anybody. You can meet just about anybody from any walk of life out here on trips like this. And if you don't do it, you're missing out on some good stuff, people. And Thomas, I'll follow you, and you got to send me some pictures of your bike and everything. So he's racing a Honda CL 350, which is a great little bike, you know, probably made back in the 70s and maybe 80s. And so he's racing that thing, and he's going all over the place. That's fun. That's cool. Man, you're inspiring me to do something different now. And Thomas also put me on a couple of the other places to go to. And when I was walking out there was a local lady, and she was like, "Oh, you have got to go to this place for a crab roll, a crab sandwich." And I'm like, "I'm so there." And then she goes, "Then you got to go to this other place to try their pie," because I love pie. I love all kinds of pie. So I got some other places to go. These places I didn't even know about, and these people are putting me on it. It's awesome. It's fun. I can spend a lot of time doing this stuff. So the laundry on the back of the bike, it's slowly drying. I just touched it, and I was gone for about an hour, but I was parked in the shade, so it didn't dry out completely yet, but it's about there. And the wind has really picked up, so it's making for some interesting riding. It's kind of cool, but it's not cool, and I'm sweating because I was on that walk for like a freaking mile. So we'll see where we get to next. All right, well, let's see where this walkway takes us. Here we go. Up, 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 up. Ah, the Owl's Head Lighthouse, just south of Rockport, Maine. And look at the view that you got out here. That is fan-freaking-tastic. So let's go up here and see how we do. See what it's like. I don't know how far you can actually come up. You know, wearing a helmet going upstairs is not too easy. But yeah, there it is. And it's got the Fresnel lens to it. I just saw that in there too. Very cool. Neat. Oh, and there's a ferry out there, ferrying people to wherever. Hey, don't mind me, I'm just talking to a microphone. One couple said, "You must be off your medicine." Yeah, kinda. Oh, what a beautiful view. Oh my goodness. How awesome. Man, if I were a Coast Guard person, man, I'd be stationed here too. That'd be fun. You see all kinds of stuff. What an awesome view. Wow. All right, we're gonna walk around a little bit, See if we can find something else. But that is cool, that ferry going right by right there. There's a whole bunch of sailboats out there too. You can't see them, I bet. All right. Well, that was really interesting. I was there at Owl's Head, and I started talking to this family, and found out they were from Jacksonville, Florida. And I used to live in Jacksonville, Florida. I lived at two places, one off of River Knoll Drive, and another one off of Losco Road. And they said, Losco Road, we used to live on Losco Road in a place called Walden Woods. And I used to live in Walden Woods, a subdivision. And so we started talking, and we were like neighbors. And here we are in Maine, coastal Maine, and we lived in the same subdivision in Jacksonville, Florida at the exact same time. That's pretty funny. And they were good people. They were just traveling up here on vacation. You know, that's what people do. That is a pretty awesome looking view right there. So yeah, I mean, that's another thing about traveling like this. You just meet people, all kinds of people, families, interesting people. Met another girl that was kayaking. She's kayaking around the coast. I'm gonna park right here, and I think I'm gonna go down there and get a picture. All right, I'll be back. Well, here's the vista that I was just at. Let's try to get a good shot of it. And all those boats out there, they're all lobster boats. You can see lobster traps right there just lined up, stacked up. And every one of those boats there is a lobster boat. Very cool. All right. All right, so that local lady said at the breakwater that I need to come into Kegs store and get their big crab roll. So I've ordered it, and I'm waiting for it to come out, and I just thought I'd come out here and get my helmet so I could talk. And oh man, there's like, what is that guy doing with the helmet on? So I'm just here kind of milling around right now until it's ready. But we'll go in and check it out. Alright guys, I'm in Kegs General Store, and I heard from that lady that this was the best crab roll in the state of Maine. So I've got a crab roll, and I got chips, and I got my drink. And you can see this general store, I mean, it's got wood floors and all the general merchandise that you would want. They got a lot of liquor over here and a lot of wine over here, and soups and everything else. And it's just a general store, and then they got a deli or whatever back there. But I'm gonna try this here crab roll out, and I'll let you know how it is. But it looks good, so we'll check it out. DonknDave out. Well guys, I gotta say that crab roll, man, that was like 1.5 pounds of crab meat mixed in with a little bit of mayonnaise to keep it from drying out. And man, that was some good eating right there. As we would say in the South, you're in high cotton when you're eating that. That was good food. I gotta come to another place here to work that off a little bit, because there was like I said, that thing was about 1.5 pounds of crab meat. That was good. So we're coming up to the Owl's Head Transportation Museum. I don't know what to expect out of this thing, but I heard it was pretty cool that they have some vintage old cars and maybe a bike or two. So we're gonna have to come in here and check it out. You know, this looks interesting. So the crab cake or the crab roll was awesome. Now it's time to see what else we can get into here. All right guys, we are here at the Owl's Head Transportation Museum, and this is where they start out. I mean, damn, that's a big steam power wheel, whatever there. And they're talking about horsepower and where they get their stuff from, where they get horsepower from. and it comes around from the horsepower to the mills, and then steam power, and then the internal combustion engine, and then the jet turbines, and I guess it ends up here with the steam engine here, this coreless steam engine. Can you imagine? Just even back then, the technology was pretty fantastic. I mean, that's a lot of technology right there for 100 years ago. All right, guys, I got something really special right here. This is a steam velocipede, a steam-powered motorcycle that was developed in 1865. In 1865, somebody decided to put a steam motor on two wheels, and this is the first motorcycle ever. It actually predates bicycles, because back then they didn't have bicycles with cranks. You know, they didn't have that. So they had two wheels and a motor, and that's it. No brakes, no nothing. But this right here is the first motorcycle ever. If you think Harley Davidson was the first motorcycle, you're wrong. This is the first motorcycle ever. Very, very cool. I just can't imagine. What if that thing blew up and you're on it? What if the boiler blew up? That would be bad news. So this is very cool. I was so surprised to find this in this museum. Very cool though. Guys, you gotta be here in this place. It is just awesome. They have got all kinds of old cars here. There's the original, looks like the Wright brothers model of the Wright brothers thing. And then you got all these cars. There's a World War I flyer right there, and all these old cars. And then some more old cars, and there's a biplane over there, and then there's another airplane that would date back to like World War I. And somewhere in here they've got motorcycles, and I'm gonna find the motorcycles, but damn, there's a steam engine right there, a real steam engine. And there's some carriages and all kinds of stuff, but good golly Moses, I didn't know that all this stuff was in here. You know, you just don't expect this to be in Rockport, Maine, but it is. Wow. Alright guys, I found the motorcycles, or a few of them. This is a 1931 Henderson Streamline that had a 4-cylinder motor, and it was 56 cubic inch, 7 horsepowers, and it had a folding hand crank for starting. No kickstarters, you had to crank it. Oh my gosh. Then here comes a Indian Junior Scout. That's from 1938. That's an Indian Scout from 1938. Wow. And then in the back right there, that's a Royal Enfield. They still make Royal Enfields right now. They're 500 cc's. Royal Enfield's making a comeback, and Indian's making a comeback. And of course that thing there is gone. And then here comes another couple of bikes. This is an Excelsior, 1913. 1913. Excelsior. Wow, that's old. And then here comes 1917 Curtis Jenny. I don't know anything about this bike, but man, it looks good. Looks like you could ride that thing right now. It's got good tires. Looks like it's in rideable condition. Man, that'd be fun to ride, wouldn't it? The Jenny had 2 careers: a trainer during World War I, and later as a barnstormer air show performer, using airmail routes between New York and Washington. Very cool. Alright. The Wright brothers flyer, and then you have, this is not the original thing, but this is just a model of it, or to scale. And then you got these other old airplanes here, and then there's a steam engine there, and then there's a carriage and another, I don't know what that is, maybe a steam pumper or something like that for like fires or something. And this is a model of an ornithopter. This was devised based on, or built based on, Leonardo da Vinci's drawings for a flying machine, and the guy who built it thought that it would work. So they built the full scale model, and they tried to make it work, and of course it wouldn't work. Look at it, it's even got feathers. It's got feathers, and that's like hog wire right there. That's amazing. That's an amazing piece of machinery, even if it didn't work. Wow. And then they're talking about the pioneers of aviation before we had flight, and all the crazy ideas that people came up with to try to get off the ground. And then there's a glider up there. That's not to scale. And there's another one. There's the glider thing that Leonardo da Vinci came up with, that right there. Da Vinci was freaking smart, man. He came up with some good ideas. He came up with the original tank. If you go back and you look at his drawings, he had a covered wagon that would fire projectiles out. That was the original tank. He was smart. He was badass. And then look at all these cars. Another line of cars. Oh my gosh. You know, I'm not a big car person, but I appreciate the antiquity of these things, the age of them, and the care that they have to take to keep these things going. As I heard one guy talking about it, every one of these machines works. Every one of these things works. Every airplane, every car, every motorcycle, everything works. That's amazing. There's a Buick. That's a Buick. Wow. There's a Cadillac. One of the original Cadillacs. Wow. Very cool. 1907 Cadillac runabout. Amazing. Amazing stuff. A Sears motor buggy. Sears made cars. They ain't making cars now. And here's a Ford, the original Model T Roadster. You know, that was the car that changed everything, because it was affordable and all the parts were interchangeable. That's what Ford wanted to do, is make a car that all the parts would be interchangeable, so you didn't have to parts hunt and everything. It's got a hand crank there to crank it up. He later came up with a battery and a starter so they could start it up without having to get out and crank it. That was smart. Ford said, make it any color you want, just so long as it's black. He was a smart man about that. I mean, he was efficient. Any color you want, just so long as it's black. All right, and then there's bicycles. Here's another bicycle. 1901 Steffi motorbike. That might be one of the first motorcycles, if you want to call it that. I think Mercedes-Benz came up with the first motorcycle. Or no, BMW did. BMW did. Here's a Whizzer, probably from Sears or something like that. Whizzer. That's crazy. Can you imagine going down the road in that thing now? Hey, kill yourself. Oh my goodness. That looks like it's fun. Fun. Here comes some more motorcycles. This is a board tracker right here that Harley Davidson built, and it would go about 100 miles an hour on, it would go around and around and around in a circle on a board track, and it was really, really dangerous. A lot of guys died doing that. And I got a buddy that made a board tracker. He called it a tracker, but it's really a board tracker bike out of a Harley. Took the Harley motor and did all the body work and everything, changed the frame around. And this is an Indian hill climber right here. Look at that. They use chains They use chains to go on the tires to go up hills and to go up hill climbing. That is crazy. Look at that suspension. There's almost no suspension. It's just a spring. And here's an old Harley, 1919 Harley. That looks good. I'll bet that spark plug there is a bitch to replace if you break it. It's right there where it could get broken. It's got a crank kickstart. Here's a Jap flat track racer. I don't know what JAP means. Honda, I don't know. But that's another tracker, or a flat tracker. And then here's an OSSA, O-S-S-A, motocrosser, looks like. Looks like it could be, you know, an enduro type, because it's got a headlight on it and a brake light. And here's a Triumph, 1964 Triumph. Looks like a motocrosser or something like that. Maybe a flat tracker. And then here we go. Here's the Honda Road Racer. Wow, that's cool. 1964 350cc Honda 4-cylinder, a Grand Prix Tribute. This is a replica bike, not the real deal. But that's cool. That's a 350cc, and that's what it would have won. You know, like I don't know, the Isle of Man or something like that. That is cool. Cool. And then we have some go-karts. Go-karts up on the wall, or that's soapbox racing. And then little dirt bikes for kids. And then here's another beautiful car right here. I don't know what that is. And then here's all kinds of race cars right here. And man, I just can't cover all this stuff. I don't have time. But I remember the Road Runners. I remember the Plymouth Road Runners. They raced in NASCAR too. I think, didn't Richard Petty drive one? He might have. But I remember the Plymouth Road Runners with those cool wings on the back. Man, that is mondo cool right there. That is awesome. That is an awesome piece of machinery right there. That is big bucks. If you had to buy that right now, that would cost you a fortune in money. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow. All right. Next. Well, I managed to get up to Bangor, Maine, not Bangor, Bangor, and got a campsite up here at the Pleasant Point Campground. And it seems to be okay. People here kind of looking at me funny because here's a biker, motorcyclist, in the middle of a bunch of RVs, but they're kind of looking at me funny. Probably because I'm wearing a helmet right now and talking into it. But good day today. We saw some really good stuff, had some great food, and saw the probably the world's first motorcycle. That was pretty cool. So a good day. Tomorrow will be fun, and appreciate our friends out there and the people that have subscribed. Appreciate it very much, guys, and we will talk to you tomorrow. DonknDave out.
Yeah.